Hey guys, unfortunately, this episode has some audio issues because we recorded both in person and online at the same time concurrently, and we hadn't practiced that before, so there were some issues, and I do apologize. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the South Turnovers. So myself, that's your Bay, Maxwell Dankwa, and Silas Bimpon. As promised, we said we were going to continue the previous conversation on Android versus iOS. Yes, and we actually changed for this episode because we brought in another person to help us with this discussion.
The one and only.
Yes. But unfortunately, Maxwell has some technical issues, so he couldn't join us, which is very unfortunate because we had a very heated conversation. Because we have to record and we have to keep the show moving, we'll have to record without him. By the next episode, Maxwell will surely be here. Anyways, so Silas, how far?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I mean, like since we recorded, since we last recorded, nothing much has happened. Like, because it was literally like just yesterday.
Hey, they don't have to know that. It was years ago. Anyway.
Yeah. So since that time, everything's fine. Yeah.
Great. Anyway, so myself, nothing major. Just
Wait, you want to talk about your fish room? Because right now I went to your fish room, so and now you're a fish daddy. Should I see?
Yeah.
Have you picked up names for them?
No, I haven't picked out names for them yet. I'm still looking at their behavior, but then there's one acoustic one that keeps going to the top and scares me that there's not much oxygen in the tank. But then because there are two, I know there's oxygen because the other one doesn't go to the top.
Okay.
It's only one that goes to the top, so that one happens to be a very stubborn one. But then as time goes on, I'll name them. But Silas and Maxwell, it seems like a fine name. So big fishes because people are fishes.
Don't name me after a fish.
But people name big people fishes after big people, and they even create puns. They create fish puns with their names.
I didn't know that. I mean, like, I don't really know much about fishes anyways and fish keeping and all that. So might as well educate me on that topic.
It's a boring hobby. I mean, look at it right now. I say it keeps going to the top, but the other one doesn't go to the top. Yeah, it's very. Anyway, all right. So the third person on today's episode is Douglas. He's actually sitting by me and we're recording here. Douglas, how far? How are you?
I'm doing good.
Wait, we don't know who Douglas is.
Yeah, Douglas, who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah, get the mic closer to your mouth so that.
Who am I?
Yeah, who are you? We know you, but then the listeners do not know you.
Okay.
Yeah, your future wife could be you're single, right?
It's complicated.
We thank God. your future wife can be listening. Anyway,
So, like you said, I'm Douglas. I just graduated from KNUST.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm an incoming NSS personnel, tech enthusiast. I'm a programmer. I write web apps. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty much it.
Silas, is he telling the truth?
Pretty much.
Is there something?
I mean, there's more to it, but
what was the more to it? Hey, come. What's the more to it?
I mean, like a high level introduction. That's key. I mean, I don't want to spill some other things on this podcast, so I'll just leave it there.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So Douglas is actually a tech enthusiast. So Douglas, let's just briefly preview you on yesterday's conversation before we move on. So we're talking about iOS and Android. You've used an iOS device before, right?
Many iOS devices.
Exactly. And now you are using an Android.
Yes.
And you are using an Android, and you seem to like it. Even though you have wanted to use my phone, but then you are surviving with it.
Yeah, I'm surviving.
Hey,
I'm thriving
you
actually.
wanted to
Yeah.
use a Bane's phone.
My phone is a beast, though.
Charlie. Which Huawei? It's not
Douglas.
the
you-
flagship Huawei.
Okay.
It's not
Douglas,
like the
please.
flagship Huawei.
Salas, keep quiet.
It has a
Douglas,
flagship chip.
Douglas, please. Just
Ah.
tell him. Lay it on him.
It has a Kirin 980.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's
see,
as powerful
forget.
as
I've
a
seen
Snapdragon
all the specs,
845.
too. But once it's not a flagship, I won't give it that respect you guys want to give.
Would you
to
call
it. Like,
a OnePlus 60 a flagship phone? It's not, but it has the specs. And it can
I
deliver
mean,
the experience.
no doubt about
Unless you are biased against the Huawei brand,
Exactly.
which would be
He's racist.
very
He's racist.
I'm not saying.
Okay, no. To be clear, he's racist against phones, Chinese phones, not Chinese people.
No, wait. You were here on
Uh-huh.
this podcast, the previous one of the episodes where we realized that these Chinese phones are actually being used as like
These
data
techno
pipeline.
phones, techno
Techno.
phones,
But
techno
it wasn't just
phones.
techno phones.
It was just techno. It was just
I mean,
techno.
the evidence that we go only back techno phones. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's like all Chinese products, and then they are just sending data from Africa to China. That's why, like, I feel like,
But doesn't Apple take your data from Ghana to America?
Exactly.
Charlie, that'd be different.
Or you want your data to go to America, but not China.
Not China.
No,
Exactly.
no. I mean, the way China, I shouldn't say. Should I say it's a stereotype?
You've
I'd
been
rather say.
consuming American media.
Wait, I think that one we're all guilty of consuming American media. It's
Oh,
not
no,
just.
no,
biased
gentleman,
against
gentleman, finish your point. So you're saying something.
But my point is that
Uh-huh.
China is noted for, especially with their tech companies. So I don't know if you realize they tend to sort of know when to invest in particular countries in Africa, and basically the way they are trying to, should I say, mine our resources when it comes to natural resources, especially, and then basically hooking us up to anything they have, so that like we can literally still like be dependent on their resources. So that is why I say China is bad for African tech consumers. But at least you know that Apple is all about data privacy and all that. So you don't see Huawei championing that cause, do you?
Huawei championing the cause for was data protection.
Yeah, data protection, data privacy. They don't see that.
No, it's Android. It's Android championing the cause. It's Samsung championing the cause.
It doesn't matter. Like, because
No. Answer the question. It's
at the
Android
end of the day,
championing
if
the
the device gets hacked, will you blame Android or you blame Huawei?
I'll blame Android. I don't blame Huawei.
Hey.
No, I mean Huawei is not responsible for the operating system and possibly the full integration of the security systems.
No, they do. I mean, no. I mean, they'll obviously have a party playing it. I mean, they can share the blame with Google and Huawei, but then much of it will have to be like the manufacturer's device you're using. You can't tell me that because, let's say, if your Windows laptop is faulty right now, would you send it to a Windows shop or you send it to let me see, an HP shop or a Lenovo shop? You
I'll send it to the tabletop people by the roadside who repair phones.
Those people are OGs, by the way. Like,
most of them is try and error. They are using your phone for experiments. Your phone is one of their lab rats.
If not change
but yeah, I mean,
that.
it's better than actually sending, because they're actually pay less as compared to sending a device from like Ghana to the US or the UK or wherever it needs to get fixed. Because a friend of mine had a problem with his MacBook, and he basically sent it to one of these roadside guys, and then it got fixed. I mean, he experimented with it, but it got fixed. As compared to in that same environment, someone had to ship his laptop from Ghana to the US, and with this whole like COVID thing that started, he got it like yesterday, so it's been like 6 or 7 months without his laptop. So at least we have to give it.
That's rich people problems. Rich people only 10 years. Went raised from the first floor to the ground floor. It will shake and come back alive. Anyway, not to get sidetracked again like we did yesterday. So we are basically having. I was addressing Douglas. So we are basically having a conversation about Apple versus Android. We are looking at everything operating system wise. So we are lumping all Android phones together as one. Then iOS, since iOS has only one hardware, is the iPhone. So we are looking at the device integration. We are looking at the user's ability to do a lot of things. We're also looking at security and all that. Yes. So let's start. Where do you stand? Who do you support?
I don't have a side. I think I stand in the middle with most,
Douglas.
most Android iOS debates. Because I've used, yeah, I go back and forth. You know this is true, Silas. My previous
I know this is
iPhone,
true, but I know you have a
Android. Like, I actually don't right now. That especially if we had this argument maybe or this debate 3 months ago, would have been a different case. But with iOS 14,
it's a fight. We're having a fight.
Oh, you want me to pick a side?
No, we're having a fight. It's not a debate. It's not an argument.
Oh,
it's a fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we had this argument 3 months ago,
it's a fight. It's a fight.
So this fight.
Yeah. If we had this fight, this war.
This fight.
Correct adjectives.
If this war was had 3 months ago, it would have been a different case. With iOS 14 on the onset, and then people using it, general opinions, and then what it brings to the table. I think the whole balance has been tilted a bit to a more balanced side. Because, for instance, should we go into it?
Oh yeah, feel free. We don't have an order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Previously, iOS users said, "Oh, we like things out of the box how they are.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care about themes. We don't care about widgets, icon packs, and stuff like that." But I don't know if you know about WidgetSmith.
Mm-hmm.
WidgetSmith.
Mm-hmm.
People are using it to it in conjunction
customize
with
their home screens.
screens looking fancy. I'm like, these same people said we don't care about these customization, and I'm like, okay, so anything for the agenda.
Exactly.
So now these people are tweaking their phones. I've seen so.
They've been like 2006 Android.
Exactly.
And Douglas, sorry to cut you, but would you agree that the WidgetSmith on iOS is way better than Android? Like from a UI perspective.
No.
No, from a UI perspective.
Have you ever used a good launcher and a good icon?
Have you ever used
that? Is
no,
not.
Have you ever used a Samsung phone? Have you seen the One UI on Samsung?
Yes.
See how beautiful it is.
You haven't used One UI. It was
I haven't used One UI. I remember that.
Phone.
Try One UI. It's so beautiful. Douglas is.
I'm using One UI 2.1 right now.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I'm
using EM UI something.
That's what you don't
know. I don't even think the GadgetSmith, the WidgetSmith themes and are even close to native Android themes and icon packs in any way, because they're using shortcuts and then you feel the latency. Like, it's doing it through CV shortcuts. So when you tap on an app, it's not very instant. Like, I don't know if you've used it. Have you tried the Silas?
No, I haven't tried it. I don't exactly have a need to customize my home screen, so I'm just cool with it.
Okay. So I think that the whole argument is killed now, and then with widgets on the onset and everything, iOS is a bit closer. It's a bit closer to Android now. But
I'll cut this part out. Actually, lower your voice because of my landlord, not because of the microphone. The microphone is fine. So just put the microphone closer to your mouth so that you don't have to shout.
Okay.
Yeah. So please continue. Sorry.
So with yeah. So now I think Android is still, maybe I'm ranking them. Android is still A+. Mm-hmm. iOS is a good A-, but iOS is catching up quickly.
I mean, I'd say that's fair, but that's not too fair, because Android Android, I don't know, like just the mere fact that Android is open source. I mean, or started with an open source model as compared to iOS. I feel like if you should give that rating, that would be quite unfair because as compared to Android, where anything that's open source, you have much more people involved in basically like putting on their own tweaks and customization layer on top of it, as compared to just having one company being like the sole developer for everything OS related. But and then being able to
But I
maintain an
prefer
entire
one person
ecosystem.
being um the sole whine of one software and not allowing others to tweak or giving others a chance to
So
have
far,
fun with
so
it.
far, I have no problem with the way Apple is doing it. One might argue that they are using it to like rake in more money, which um I feel like obviously if you're a company you want to make profits. But I don't see
Exactly.
any problem with that. But then just the mere fact that they're able to like they provide a seamless ecosystem from one device to another is something like I really appreciate. But for someone might make another argument that you don't exactly need. If you have an iPhone, you don't
Yeah, you
exactly
don't
need
need
an
it.
iPad. Or
But
Exactly.
Silas, with the open source and then with one company developing it and then handling everything, does that affect the end user's experience in any way?
I mean, it all does. I mean, from the different points of view. So, like with Android, obviously, if I feel like I want my home screen to be like an animation of like a particular, I don't know, cartoon character or something, I could just fork their project in. Sorry, when I say fork, I mean FORK, disclaimer alert. I could probably fork it and then build whatever I want on it. I mean, you give power to the people. I feel like everyone loves that. I feel like that is able to like sort of build a community of creators around it, which you don't exactly have with Apple. But
So that's a win. That's a good thing for the
yeah, oh
users.
hey, oh yeah, that's a good thing for the users. But when it comes to fine tuning things like data privacy and then having policies as to like how like your data is controlled by one another, you don't exactly have that same thing with Android. I could
Yeah,
be wrong, though.
it's true.
Um,
With your point,
I'm
it's very
coughing. I'm
true.
coughing in Sync iOS. You know there's Sync iOS, right?
Wait,
And
come again?
Sync. You know there's Sync iOS. And Sync
No.
iOS basically gives me room to do whatever transfer I want to do in whatever file format I want to at ease without thinking or blinking twice. And you're talking data privacy. So
I
there's
wait.
still loopholes.
Data price, nah, but that doesn't mean that another device can get access to the content of your phone if you haven't authorized it. No.
Does that mean another device can get the content of your Android phone if you haven't authorized an app? Or if an app hasn't tricked you into authorizing it to take it?
Yeah, I mean there's that, but
The
then
answer is
rather
no.
with no, I mean that there is because an example is the reason why Apple is so against like Epic Games like using their own payment integration within their app stores because with applications on their app store, they're basically putting your software on someone's phone, and with that comes with malware or vulnerabilities based on how the application has been designed. So specific things like payments, where like if an application sits on your phone, it could get access to your payment information and all that.
But don't you think Apple is just being too paranoid?
I mean, is it bad or is it good? I feel like it's good
I
because
feel is in this case it's becoming too predatory because when I looks like let's stick into this whole Fortnite Epic Game situation. Right now, Fortnite is saying that because of these restrictions, they are suffering some losses that they aren't even supposed to incur. But
what
Apple
is their
is
fault?
no, but Apple is also bringing this argument that because of security, we are going to charge you this amount to to use our systems. But
Yes,
then
and security is
why
expensive.
why won't Apple rather be the regulator in this situation so that you can use whatever payment system or platform you use, but then before your app is approved for our app store, we have to do some background checks. We have to make sure that, let's say, you are using authorized payment APIs. So if it's from MasterCard, if it's from, let's say, PayPal, it should be authorized from them, you understand? So that we can ensure that the safety of the people who will be using your app or your software will be assured.
Yeah, I mean, you make a solid point with that, but then I don't I don't know why Apple hasn't exactly done that, but I feel like they'll obviously have their
Because on
reasons.
Pesca,
I think it's more about the money than
it's
anything
more
else.
about, it's more about
I
money
mean,
than the
yes, I mean
security.
the,
Because I
the
remember
money
the
part
whole
comes in.
Spotify episode. They were
Oh
making
yeah,
users
yeah,
make their subscriptions off the app, and then it was a whole issue. It's more about the money. It's more about their cut. And I think
yeah.
it's
I
fair.
mean,
If they've given you a platform, you don't expect to go behind their back, take your payment, and then be in the platform that they've also invested into and use for free. I think even
yeah,
if their charge is too high, I think they also deserve something for all the resources and research and
yeah.
manpower they put into
And the
building
reason
that
why
platform.
and the reason why I think people are mad at it is because they feel like Apple is making so much because was it
They
like
feel or they
last month
are.
or two? I mean,
They
they
are
are,
making unreasonably too much.
but I made this point last time where, like, in terms of amount is related to whoever the money is going to. Based on
Okay.
Apple standards, they probably are not making enough. Because I feel like every company has like KPIs in terms of revenue they should make, and probably from Apple standpoint, they are not making enough. Another thing is that they literally invented the App Store market, or the basically app markets that we know today. Where before then you have to travel to a store somewhere to get a software CD or something to purchase before you then come back home and then do installation and all that. It reduced cost overload for both, should I say, app developers and then storekeepers in a certain way, because you have to manage inventory and all that, which came with so much cost as compared to now, where basically even with mobile apps you don't have to manage like the entire infrastructure. Like, once you put your application on App Store, you just manage a few things like your user database and all that in order to like keep your application afloat. And Apple is saying that for you to do that, they will just take 30% of anything you make on their platform.
And
And
it's not even only about the platform. Even in your development, they provide you with tools and APIs and a lot of things that actually make the app work.
Xcode and all that. So,
even though
and I feel
you
like,
pay for the developer account, yeah,
oh yeah. Okay, I don't know how much you pay though.
$99 a year.
A year. Oh, $99 a year. Essentially.
Google
Multiply
charges
that by
$25 for a lifetime.
multiply that 99 times.
Yeah,
Let's
I
say
mean,
if there are 100,000
Google
people
Google
times the
can
number
charge
of years.
$25 because Android is open source and they're basically leveraging open source tech. So it makes sense that they don't really charge that much as compared to Apple. But from where I stand, I feel like Apple deserves much more credit given the market they created and then the opportunity for app developers to actually like distribute their software with less upfront cost. So, but then again, Epic Games can make us say that they are not making that much money because related to their KPIs, they're not making that much. But if a hack should happen right now with Apple devices, who are they going to blame? Will they blame Apple or they'll blame Epic Games? Like all of a sudden, if like
they'll blame
people's car
Apple, but then
details
no.
get stolen.
Apple shouldn't forget that your users, your customers are not just the people buy your phones, but the people who design third-party applications that run your phones so that you can get more people to use your phones. So these developers on their app store and whatever are as important as the people who have their phones in their hands. Because without Fortnite has millions and millions of plays, even on mobile, and the mobile actually increased their penetration of the Fortnite game. Now, a lot of people use it just because it can easily be accessed on an iPhone or on a mobile device. and that's very important. That's major for Apple because they can get more screen time from their users, and that means they can get more data that they'll be taking from you small to 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 make their next device better. So for me, I think that they shouldn't really be too chin. They should they should ease up their restrictions and all that.
Easing is the best
Wait,
way to go.
but a follow-up question though. So what does Epic Games beef with Google do, and how is it different from the beef they have with Apple?
Do you know the details of the Google beef?
No,
It's something
I mean,
similar to the Apple
I
deal.
think it was something similar, but I don't exactly know the difference between it. Like, cause they're basically going at both Apple and Google.
I'm hard, I'm free. Anyway, so but then from one thing, one time I must give to iOS is that the interface is clean. For me, Android, it takes so much work to make my Android as clean and minimalist as possible. A lot of work. Yes, but then
Exactly.
iOS comes out of the box.
No bloatware, nothing.
No bloatware, exactly. And the transitions are smooth. The transitions are smooth and there's no unnecessary detail. But Android, it looks like they want to put in as much as possible onto your device.
And one problem I had with Android devices, I mean, before Google Pixel was released, was how frequently you get software updates. I mean, so I was using like Samsung Galaxy Note 4, and then I think when Marshmallow came out, I got it like 3 or 4 months or 5 months after like people had already started using it and all that. And for me, that was problematic because I mean, being myself, I always want to like stay current with like new things, like because I basically bought the phone. So obviously, if there's any software updates that would like solve things like make my phone faster or anything of that sort, I feel like you owe your consumer that speed of delivery. But with Apple, you don't exactly experience that. Anytime there's a software update, everyone gets it. Even to the extent that I don't know, I think 6S or 6.
Yeah, success
can
go
support
14.
Yeah, go 14. You see, and
But
It's 5 years
but
old.
no, but the thing is, it's like buying. This analogy will affect me.
I think
It's like buying. It's
your
like buying
agenda,
a poor person.
will work.
No, it's like buying a poor person a Bugatti. Of course, you are dashing to the person for free, but the maintenance cost alone can kill the person.
No, but even if you buy a flagship Android, the whole issue of updates on iOS and Android, like iOS just runs circles around Android. First of all, the number of years of support you get with iOS, you are guaranteed 5 years.
No, but Android.
2 years,
Android-
max 3 years.
Android
Android is logical
3 years.
because no. If you take the second iPad and you go and put iOS 12 on it, you are stressing the chip.
No, it actually runs fluently. It works. It works.
Yeah,
And then
I mean, it works. You won't experience like, I mean, some applications might crash due to lack of support, but then it still works.
and then with penetration and everything, even if your phone is just a year old and then you want a new update, when a new version of Android comes out, you're not getting it today, you're not getting it tomorrow, you're not getting it next week. You know, iOS 14 came, I think, Wednesday, 16th September.
Yeah.
And then it already has more than 40% of users. Android 10 till now doesn't have up to that percentage. So imagine, it's been almost a year, or more than a year.
No, you are playing the numbers game here. 1% of iOS users is peanuts as compared to 1% of Android users. So you are playing with the numbers game.
Not exactly peanuts, but
It's peanuts.
it's less. It's less.
It's peanuts. It's peanuts. Hey Google, I know you can do this. How many people use Android phones?
Oh, that one they're pay.
It's saying 2 billion users. Billion. Hey Google, how many people use Apple phones?
About half of these phones are not even cannot support the new versions of the OS. So like half of it is gone.
Exactly.
Yes. But I think the much more important question you should ask is that, like with Android 10, how many Android users are
Capable,
on the latest
how many
OS?
capable users who
Do a
are
number
actually
of people,
looking for the updates?
do a number of
have
people
it?
who currently have iPhone 1, the first generation iPhone.
Very few.
They are there. You know, people who
very
have iPhone 4.
No, but the
If you go to
interesting thing
town,
is
all
that
these people who are doing Twitter for iPhone.
the interesting thing is that they can still use their phone without problems. You can't tell me, you can't say the same for like an S3, a Samsung Galaxy XT.
S3
Like,
cry, you're going back. Take
Yeah.
S5. S5. You can't.
There-
You never have a good experience with S5 today.
at all.
But
If I give you a 5S today, at least.
Douglas, who's team are you?
Oh, I have no side, but
No, you're
the
on
truth
side.
is the truth.
You just want to do agenda.
With updates, Android is terrible with updates.
Very
And
terrible.
as a person, like, I'm a sucker for updates. When an update comes, I can't stay like 12 hours without updating it. I'm updating it now. I'm joining the beta. I'm running the public beta. Like, so
Yeah.
Android.
Now,
I'm
but
just-
I mean, how would you feel if like they are sharing cake or something? Everyone's supposed to get a cake, but you are told that you get a cake in the next 5 months.
2 months.
How would you feel?
No, it's no. The whole reason for that is the handset changes. Like, for example, you know why processed food is more expensive than food that has gotten in, let's say, the local market that comes straight from the farmer's hands? It's because processed food may have to be imported. This merchant to buy and sell it to this and this person. So before it comes to your point, before it comes to you, a lot of hands have taken their profit from it. So it becomes very expensive. The same way, with the same logic, Google releases the stock Android, then it has to go to these manufacturers who have to sit to their teams and fine tune it.
Exactly.
But then iOS releases the stock iOS
For everybody.
for everybody at the same time because they are the makers of it.
And that process also adds a lot of value to Android. Because if Samsung takes the stock Android ROM and then it adds a lot of features, you have things like split screen multitasking and all these features that makes one UI like
after
just
10 years.
amazing.
After 10 years, people now have picture on picture.
Yeah, a lot of the native
Do not
features come from Samsung.
Huawei. I do app on app.
Yeah, picture in picture. They were crazy. I'm like, I've been using this thing for like 4
no,
years.
I do
Oh,
app
yeah,
on
yeah.
Apple.
I mean,
Like,
I
do app
I've
on
used that
Apple now.
feature before.
Ah,
One
what
feature
do
I
you
can't
mean?
live without
What do you
is
mean?
split screen multitasking. And then anytime I use iOS, I miss it so much.
It came last year or last 2 years on the iPad before I think the SS Max.
last year.
The SS Max now has it.
No iPhones
Yeah,
have it.
actually.
No, XS Max. The Max.
Split screen multitasking.
Yeah, the Max has it.
Really?
But then, but the regular ones don't have it. They didn't have it then.
So as do you have split screen multitasking now?
Yeah, because like on Twitter like this, I'm able to open my, I'm able to watch the NBA and the and Twitter at the same time. So like,
Not picture in picture.
No, like split screen. Yes, two
Yeah,
screens.
split screen.
Two
So
apps
like
at
I have
the
it
same
side
time.
by side.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But then the regular iPhones didn't have it. I'm sure they were looking at the screen size to
I mean,
dish out.
screen size will also count for that. And also, I think Apple also doesn't want to exactly like slow old phones with new software updates.
Hey.
All these things. I mean, Lou brought that
After
to
that-
light sometime back.
Exactly. After that lawsuit. See, after that lawsuit, they've now decided not
To
to
give you the
sue.
option
Yeah.
to choose between performance and then one thing I can say is the iOS updates, they don't really change much. They don't really demand much more performance. That's why they're able to support devices for longer. They'll bring dark mode and things that don't really demand much from the phone. So even older phones can handle it. But when Android is coming, it's bringing new APIs, API 28, API 29. Like
Exactly.
your CPU needs to be strong, needs to be fit to handle these things. So it's all part of the reasons why Android phones don't get OS update support for longer.
Yeah, I mean, you can't exactly have it all. You can't have it all. especially with new Android updates, you tend to realize that your RAM consumption just skyrockets with
Mhm.
every update. But you don't
Now
exactly
Android
get
6
same
gig
with
RAM
an
is
iPhone.
like basic. It's actually basic, and it's crazy for a phone.
So you see,
No, but
because of that,
6 gig
that is
RAM
why.
on a phone is not as powerful as 6 gig RAM on a PC.
Mhm.
That's one marketing flaw, and I don't understand why these companies try to propagate the whole 6 gig RAM, 8 gig when, because you can't put that same speed into a PC and expect it to
But
run
you
as
do realize
fast.
that Apple doesn't do that, right? Just saying, Apple doesn't do that.
No, Apple doesn't sell. Apple sells enough from a technical perspective. They
Mhm.
sell
They
experience.
sell and experience a solution for
No, but I'm
customers.
talking about the
Exactly.
RAM standpoint. I mean, with an
That's
Apple
They,
device, you
they,
can
they
deal
don't
with
market.
as.
They don't market the RAM. They just
Oh
market the
yeah,
chip.
they're not market the RAM. Yeah, but I'm saying that to your point about RAM consumption, and then the reason why they have to do that is because with Android updates, like basically your RAM consumption increases as compared to like an iPhone where like it would probably increase by a factor of like 25 or that percent, so 0.25 or probably 50%. But it doesn't exactly affect like your user experience in any or
Mm.
whatsoever. So yeah.
Well, but that's true. That's true to a large extent. But then I feel, uh huh.
Yeah, so like on that same point, you don't an example is okay, I'm still deviating from the iOS Android thing, but it's still iOS Android. Like would you if I was to give you an Android tablet and then an iPad, which one would you pick and why?
Obviously an iPad for the build quality. But then if you give me an Android phone as compared to an iOS device, I'll I'll most likely pick the Android phone.
No, that's the same with you.
I think it depends on the the devices themselves. Because if you give me an iPhone 6 and
Mhm.
then an S20 Ultra, or if you give me an iPhone 11 Pro and then a Galaxy S5, they are two different things. So I don't think just the OS will
Have you
influence my choice
considered
in
the
No,
terms of
no,
maintenance
but
of
I'm
the
talking about the
device?
tablet too. The tablet.
the tablets. Oh, tablets, iPad always rules. Like the rest of the tablets are not even trying hard.
iPad. It was Apple who invented the tablet.
Really?
Apple
Yes.
invented everything.
No,
Everything.
my guy, relax.
Everything's the same.
Everything's the same. Relax,
I mean,
relax.
the
Pause.
smartphone
We
market, the smartphone market. In the last episode, you realized that the smartphone market was invented by Apple, and then the
Mhm.
iPad market or the tablets market was also invented by them. That's what I mean by everything.
But
So they
then
invented these
they
things.
invented the tablet market because the first iPad, they were the first people because tablets were more of huge PDAs, and also they were used in industries and things to take notes and stuff, and for logistics and all those things. But then they brought it to the home and made it more commercial by bringing the first iPad. From there, that's where these other manufacturers started, of company phone manufacturers started making their own variants of it. And went Samsung they started putting phones and tablets.
Samsung just makes
Like
Eh,
big
I,
Android phones and
my
calls them
experience with
tablets.
Samsung tablets is very bad. I,
I remember
ah,
that tablet, your
yeah,
colleague
that's
there.
I was like I was
Oh,
like 10.3 or 10.58.
I'm
I
telling that
think it all comes down to the wide range of devices that developers have to support. For users, it's a good thing because you have a wide range of products that you can choose from. You
yeah.
want it big, you want it this size, you want it 10 inches, 7 inches. But then the developers too have to support. You have to build an app to support this size.
I think the
Support
issue that
foldables. It's
they,
all
I
difficult.
think they should regulate screen sizes because if screen sizes are regulated,
With Android or iOS.
Android
And
devices
aspect ratios too.
and aspects, yeah, necessarily all together
Yeah.
as one. Because see the new fold, see the aspect ratio of the previous one compared to the new ones
Developers
different.
won't optimize for the because they know in the next
Yeah,
12 months you bring a new one with a different whole screen
exactly.
size.
And
So
that's a
why
problem you
bother?
get with open source tech.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's a problem you get with open source tech because like you can't exactly force like regulations on your developers because the technology itself is open source.
Mhm. But no, but then I think there should be some level of regulation on the hardware point and on the hardware because, for example, you can't have different aspect ratios and different screen sizes. You are stressing everybody's life out because, like for example, in every industry there's some level of regulation.
At least, if not regulation, standardization. Yes.
Exactly, standardization at least, so that and for standardization, okay, I think you need some level of standardization that should be enforced. Otherwise, for example, you know why I think this issue came some years back. Why the Snapchat camera for the Snapchat app has a better camera quality on iOS as compared to Android because
all optimization.
the Android it's universal.
Because someone is using a Leica sensor, someone is using a Sony sensor, so you can't really optimize your app for all these billion different phones around. But he knows with iPhones, he has maybe 7 devices to support. He knows the exact spec for every particular phone. He fine tunes the app for every particular phone, and everything works seamlessly. It happens with the chips as well. With Android, you have to optimize for Kirin, for Snapdragon, for MTK.
So you agree with me that having one party controlling like a particular software or OS is better for consumers, like in the long term.
Not necessarily
for consumers and then
if
developers.
it's done properly.
It depends on what the consumer values.
No, it's easier for developers, but it doesn't change the experience of the users.
Not by any huge factor.
Yes, exactly. Not by any huge factor.
For many of these most used apps, you don't really have an issue with different screen sizes. They optimize because these sizes are common among devices. Your Instagram,
right now,
YouTube.
You programmers, you program in percentages and
and instead of
actual figures,
size,
you know that okay, if it's 1 by 1, make it this percentage of relative sizing, exactly. So I mean, it doesn't really change. It doesn't really change.
I mean, I agree with that, but do you realize that with Android in particular, if you're a sole developer, developing for other phones is very difficult as compared to being a sole iOS developer.
That's very true.
I didn't get that.
No, I'm saying that the reason why like applications like Instagram and like all these huge apps able to optimize for different Android devices because you don't have like a sole developer working on, like you have a huge team as compared to like if you're a sole developer or you're like a freelance developer who is making apps. The level of work you do on an iPhone or in iOS is way less as compared to an Android device because you have to optimize for Samsung, you have to optimize for OnePlus, you have to optimize for all that just because you want one experience layer across all these multiple devices.
That's true. So I can imagine a company like Facebook or Gmail, how they really suffer to optimize for all those. Facebook, they even have free Facebook Lite, Facebook for feature phones. Hey,
you know all these things is because of the Android markets. No shade in particular, but they intend to realize that all this is because of Android. Because with iOS, once it develops,
no, it's not because of Android. It's because of the market.
And then internet. Facebook Lite is for places with very bad internet connections.
Yes, and because of the markets they are trying to reach. Facebook's strategy was to reach as many people as possible.
I don't just mean like in regards to Facebook Lite, but then most liked applications. If you take away the internet component,
no.
It has some
most of the people who use most of the people in those areas who end up using Lite are using Android not because they are using Android, but because of the economic factor. Because that's the cheapest smartphone they can get. Most people cannot afford the iOS, so not necessarily the argument. The basis of the argument is legitimate, but the basis is flawed because it's not really. It doesn't really have to do with the device, but the economics of the whole situation. Yeah,
you can get an Android phone for $35. You can get one for $1,499. There's a phone for everyone.
Exactly.
Should I say? I mean, I recognize my privilege in that, but then it sort of adds value to any Apple device I own, because I know that if I should use like an iPhone 10 for like the next 2 or 3 years, I can sell it like and not lose like close to half of my initial value of the initial buying price, as compared to like if you bought, I think S9 and iPhone X were released at the same time, right? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
iPhone 10 and
17.
S9.
S9.
No, S10 came with iPhone 10.
Okay, yeah. S10 came with iPhone 10.
2020.
So wait, S10 came
No,
last year.
S9 came with iPhone
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 9
10,
and
8
iPhone
Plus
10.
and 8. That was
SX,
Yeah.
X, 10s came with the S10.
Yeah, true.
iPhone
But if
iPhone 8 and they skipped 9, so it's iPhone 8 and 10.
yeah.
That came with
if
S9. Yeah.
you should check the selling price right now for used S9 phones and then used um, iPhone 10s, you'd realize that, Charlie, if you want value
Yeah,
for your
resale
money,
value is
like
higher
The,
on
the resale
iOS.
value is way
it's
higher than.
basically the law of scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
The resale value
Oh
is the law of
yeah.
it's for me, the resale value is more of the economics than the fact and the branding that they've added to it as compared to the build quality. Because you realize that some Android phones should actually, like for example, yesterday I think after the conversation we are talking about our some of after the podcast
Hey, you
we
just
were
say
talking.
yesterday.
No,
Just
10
say
years
yesterday.
ago, 10 years ago, after we recorded the previous episode, we had we were having a conversation about our old Android phones, and you realize I said that I use an HTC Droid, and so I
Yeah.
even got that phone used, and that phone had a very high resale value, so high that it was so much in demand at that time. And it wasn't because of the build quality or anything. It was because one, it was a good phone, and two, it was very scarce. So people, and it was a flagship too at that time. So people were actually going in for it a lot. Hey, it just reminded me how HTC used to be at the top of
Yeah.
the smartphone game. But
About 4 or 5 years.
Because I remember vacation
M8,
classes, like
M8, M9.
everyone
They
used to
were
have one.
top phones.
and Nokia, those Nokia feature phones with those pretty
Yeah.
keyboards.
Yeah.
But
I used to
Douglas,
die.
what was your first Android? Should I say, or what was your first smartphone device?
First smartphone, Techno N3.
No.
Techno N3.
On this podcast, we don't like techno.
Techno, that was my first Android. It ran Android 2.3.6.
Wow.
But techno has gotten better though.
Yeah.
Better.
At the time, it was my first Android phone. It was like, whoa. It was the whole world to me. Kept it on the pillow by my side every night. Good times.
Because even before we had that discussion about techno on the podcast, I have like a personal experience with techno with their ads. So like my dad misplaced his phone and then he needed like a temporary phone to use, so then he got a techno. And he was just getting random ads on the phone and all. So like it just really bored him to the extent that like
Out of the
he quickly
box.
had to like get a flagship phone because
I think
they
we
were
can also
just
talk about the quality of
popping
apps, iOS and Android.
I mean quality of apps. iOS
You
is
realize even Google's apps are way better on iOS.
Because of the standards.
Mhm.
Because of the
And then-
standards. But then when the variety wise, Android gives you more variety.
Android has a lot of chaff apps.
That one there.
Android have many
Ain't-
apps, but a lot of them, if you submit an app for to the App Store, it can take a long time for it to be approved. It means they're actually checking to see if the app meets.
A human being is actually
Yeah.
checking. Yeah.
If you push one to the Google Play Store, quick. I think they only ran some
Yeah,
script to
it-
check for malware and something, and then they push it live.
it doesn't take more than 2 hours to actually publish your app on the Android
It
Google
doesn't
Play
take long
Store.
at all. It doesn't take long at all. I don't think anyone actually checks it for standards or regulations or anything.
No, Google, they've automated everything. No? I
Mhm.
even doubt people even sit in the office. They made it very difficult to even contact a human being in Google. Everything is automated. Answer, but before you speak to somebody, you've answered so many questions. So what I do is that I just ignore the questions. I make sure I go to speak to someone because all these questions are very stressful.
And then when you think about um what do you call this? See, when people are buying into Apple, they have exclusive apps, and then when people are buying into Android, they don't get anything exclusive, but the iOS people get both DS and all the apps from Google and then other developers. So with iOS, it's like you have the best of both worlds. You have your iMessage, you have your FaceTime, and then you also get Duo, you get YouTube, everything from Google, most apps from developers. And then Apple also gets a lot of exclusive apps like Bear for note taking. They have Enlight, and then a lot of very good apps that are just for iOS only.
Yeah, like the Air Codes podcasting app I mentioned the last
and
time.
then Overcast. Overcast is only on iOS. It was my
Yeah.
favorite podcast player. When I moved back to Android, I didn't have it, so I had to switch to Castbox. That's what I use now.
But then, doesn't Google Podcast do it for you?
No, I tried. It looked like an app that they gave to an intern. I tried the first version.
Why does everyone say that?
It's a very bad podcast.
How is it bad?
See, when you are going through your podcast, maybe you want to download, you want to save. It's just more work. When I have things set up for my podcast, my favorite podcast. When it comes, the first three automatically saved, and I know it saves every time. I know when it plays, automatically it deletes every time. I don't have to go inside, select them one by one, those that I've listened to, and delete them. This one, it knows that Castbox knows that I've listened to them. It deletes them. It downloads the next three for me, like seamless, because I just want to pop in my earphones and then tap play and then listen.
So I should move to Castbox.
Yes, it's the best you can get on Android.
Let me download it now.
Apple Podcasts actually is not that great either.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not as bad as compared to Google Podcasts. I don't know why I struggle saying that. Podcasts.
Steve Jobs invented that. I doubt Steve Jobs invented it. I want to know.
No, it was.
It was Apple who invented it.
It's Apple brought the word podcast. I read something.
Wait,
like
was
that.
it from?
Is
Was
it
it from the
portable
iPod?
broadcaster? Yeah. The full meaning is what? Portable broadcaster.
But then one thing Android just runs away with doing is the assistant. Google Assistant is like miles better.
Yeah.
Miles
I
better.
mean,
Siri's not even trying.
For me, that's the only thing I miss about is an Android phone.
And I use it every day, so it's very important to me.
But
Google Assistant
the interesting thing is that you can actually use Google Assistant on your iPhone. But
but
just
it's not
that
seamless. You have to use it through the.
yeah, but in parts like Africa and all,
And it's not even available in Ghana.
The top,
Yeah.
the top podcasts in Ghana are all Christian podcasts. The religion be cool. This country.
Ghana for you.
Religion will
Oh,
kill
but
you.
can you blame them?
Well, I can't blame them, but then for me, it's sad that we have a huge world to explore, but then we want to limit ourselves to the confines of what religion gives us. Like, we don't explore beyond. In the Bible, we don't even read it all. They read it for us. Then we accept whatever they say.
You follow their purpose.
This is the word of
Bishop says.
Bishop says.
Bishop says. Nonsense. Anyway. Castbox is premium. You have to pay for it.
No, I don't pay for Castbox. There's a premium version, but I use it for free.
There's 3 days free trial.
No, that's the premium version, but there's a free version.
So I can restore to the old one. Okay. Yeah, so anyway. And so the Christians, then every day bishops say bishops. You see, we have topics on history. We have topics on science. Those things don't make you less of a Christian. You realize that all the things that you learn in the Bible are all embedded in these things. But then bishops say so they will do anyway.
But
And then,
since
Silas, what about file systems?
file systems, I'll say Android has a better file system than iOS.
Does it just have a better file system, or it is the only one that has an actual file system?
Is this the rating?
I
The
think this
rating
thing will
the thing
come
on
up.
the side, or is bookmark?
Let me see. And this is, I think, bookmarks, and then place. The next one is place.
Oh, 41p.
I'm sure that's me,
Anyway,
because very few people use Casbox.
actually, I listened to just 3 podcasts. No, 4 actually. No, five.
Give me
So
how I built this.
that one, I've stopped listening to it. I
Yeah, I
must
think I've
listen
missed
to Joe
the last
Rogan.
10 or something.
I listened to Joe Rogan Experience, Logan Paul's Impulsive, Views podcast by Jason Nash and David Dobrik, and also to Heath and Zane's Unfiltered. Those are like the 5 and self-taught novels. My self-taught novels,
Do you
I
listen
listen.
to self-taught novels?
I listen to it for monitoring and evaluation to make sure that BBI Okoye.
I listen to
Because I
Discovery
listen to a
by
lot.
BBC. I listen to How I Built This, self-taught novice. There's a Free Code Camp podcast. There's Syntax FM, a web development.
Joe Rogan
podcast.
has
And then
143.
MKBHD Waveform.
Joe Rogan has 143 million. Please. Oh, 143 million. No.
That's just Castbox, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I
So
listen
that's
to
what
a
you
lot.
listen to.
So I listen to ALD Tech Talk by Kwamina and like his
Are they
squad.
still releasing? The last time I
Yeah.
checked, their last episode was like months ago.
I think they've moved to what's the name? Audible or is it Audible?
No, just still on. I mean, I can still get your content on Apple Podcasts.
Okay, they syndicate. Yeah, they are. Yeah. They syndicate to other. Everything. Other.
I mean,
podcasts.
the last episode was like last week or so, where we were talking about Gen Z's perception of millennials and all that.
Yeah.
And I also listen to Developer T, Towards Data Science, Business Wars. I listen to Overtime by Dribble. I listen to Not Overthinking podcast, Thinking, Self-Taught Novels, of course. I listen to a whole lot of Google podcasts. Google has variety of podcasts on the technologies they use. And I also listen to Software Engineering Daily. And I was also listening to a Ben's podcast, Confused, which you have stopped.
That podcast is over. I brought the energy here. Douglas, have you read Essentialism?
What's his name? Markion?
Yes.
I breezed through. I listened to a 15-minute summary of it on Audible.
How do you?
If Maxwell was here, the way he chastised you for listening to
Why?
He's against
I don't know.
audiobooks.
Yeah, I actually don't get much value from them. If I want to actually dive deep into a book, I have to read it.
Kwame Atta on the other side says that he only listens to audios.
No, I didn't say I only listen to, but I mean
What do you say?
I consume a lot of audio books.
I think audio is a way to just check that, I've read it, but your mind often wanders somewhere else during the book. Like, when you're reading it actually and you realize you're not following, you go back and then actually read it again.
I mean, like, you could make that argument, but then like, I really listen to audio because I have an Audible subscription.
It all depends on the kind of book. Some books you don't really care about the nitty-gritty details. You just want a general overview, so you don't care. You treat it like a podcast, and then it just plays and you listen. But some books you really want to understand, and then those books you have to actually read them.
Okay, for me, like I listen to audiobooks the way I listen to podcasts, because like with podcasts, I listen to it because of the conversation and then the content. I feel like I use that same thinking for audiobooks, but it doesn't have to be that my mind roams somewhere else, such that like I don't pay attention to the content. But then I always do. But I think like it's probably just me, or probably just you guys.
I mean, it's ebooks. Ebooks all the way.
How do you get your ebooks?
it doesn't matter.
Can't say it here.
I'm not shy. I'm not afraid. I just you see, I just don't want to. I just don't want to. For the lack of a better word, I'm being a good citizen. Yes, I don't. Future leaders are listening to me. Yes. I have a little bit of dignity left.
Not to throw shade or anything, but I know that most Android users consume proprietary content.
Oh, that one there for sure, for shizzle. Yes, that one there, that one there, it's
Douglas,
highly accurate.
I did like.
I don't have an answer.
You don't have an answer.
I don't think they pirate because they use Android, but they pirate and use Android.
That's true.
Android,
and they actually can, but you can't.
Android actually makes it easier to consume proprietary content. Actually,
yes, because you can.
Yeah.
iOS you can't.
No, okay. Douglas, imagine your laptop wasn't allow you to keep a file system because of privacy and security. In quote, would it make sense? Your Windows Explorer wasn't working because you can download Beyonce's music.
But you get a file system with your MacBook, and I mean, you sort of get a file system with an iPad OS.
So why can't you get a file system on? I think you. So still, you guys don't have a file system.
Nope.
Why saying you guys like you don't use an iPad?
No, iPad has had a file system for some time now.
Yeah, I mean,
talking about iOS.
No, I'm talking about the iPhone.
I mean, you sort of do. Yeah, I mean, you don't exactly.
But where it's not.
I don't have a file app.
The app is not a file system.
Well, I mean, but they don't have a files app.
Unless you probably connect to iTunes, then you could probably like browse through your content or something. But for me, I actually don't have any use for the file system on my current phone because
you can't use it. It's not like you don't use. You can't.
Let him land. Let him land.
I mean, I don't have any use for it because if for any content I'll consume that requires me to like interact with a file system, I have that on my laptop, so I actually don't need that on my phone. Unless like probably like you're sharing. Yes.
I don't have use for a Bentley right now because anywhere I go,
same logic. Same logic.
Charlie.
I walk everywhere.
I mean, so I get it. Yeah, exactly. So I actually don't have it. So I make do with what I have. Until I get it, then I'll probably find a use for it. But then I actually don't have it. And it's not like if I actually get a chance to use it, I'll probably need it. Because most interactions I have with my phone is through applications. And then all these applications sort of keep the data I need. And then for file system, like Google Apps actually satisfy that too. For documents I need to use, I'll probably shuffle between Google Docs, Notion, and then sometimes Apple Notes. That's what I
Apple Notes. I use Soncho at first. I used to use it.
I remember.
I mean, I use it a lot. Like
and now it actually helps. It helps a lot. Why is it automatically downloading episodes for me?
Yeah, when
Tabel.
Downloading it.
No, what do they want to listen to Mensa Tabel?
And even on iOS 14, like the Notes app is doing better. I mean, it's not exactly perfect, but in the mere fact that like I could add people to Notes, like similar to the way like you have what should I say Google Docs, where people can edit and all that. Yes.
Why would you use Notes when you don't have a Mac? How do you access your notes on your laptop? Do you go to iCloud.com and then into Notes?
No, I mean for that I'll obviously use Google Notes. I mean, yes. But then for people I know within the Apple ecosystem, like for instance, I wrote something for a friend and then I just shared it over Notes, and we're talking about it on iMessage. So, I mean, within that part it works. But I was somewhere like you and Obin who are both on Android and WhatsApp. I mean, Obin could work because he has an iPad. But for anyone else, I'll probably use Google Docs.
it still doesn't change the fact that you people are what. Dun, dun, dun.
Like, the reason why I'm saying this is because you lost your iPhone.
Yeah,
If you didn't lose your iPhone, I'm sure the narrative would have been different. And I can state this as a matter of fact.
I remember being it's like iPhone camera they made it to if you don't agree with me.
I remember. And
Oh, but look at this camera.
ever since he got an iPhone, ever since he got an Android, his Instagram hasn't been fire. Like, he doesn't take fire pictures.
No, I've been busy. That's why. See this picture.
It's not busy matter.
There's a theory that iOS devices makes you more social.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
it's a conversation. It's a conversation piece.
What do you call it? They're actually good, so you actually use them more. So you actually waste your time.
No, but then also too, it's a conversation piece. Oh, what iPhone do you use? You can be proud to talk about it, but they say, oh, what Android do you use? Why they further degraded you. They are calling by the operating system.
By itself is very derogatory.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Android. Which one?
And the reason why it's good is because, like for instance, if you have an iPhone and want to talk over video call or something, I can easily FaceTime you. Unlike Android, you have to now probably go and download Google Duo, or you have to use a third party like WhatsApp or something. And the app experience is exactly the same, like conversation-wise and all that. And it's not even seamless to the extent that, like, if we are having a conversation on WhatsApp, you can't move that conversation to your laptop.
You can by just long.
I mean, yes, you can by like
web.whatsapp.com.
but with an iPhone and then a Mac, that's if you have a Mac, you can just move. You can just move from, like, if your battery dies, and obviously you wouldn't want to use your phone. You didn't want to use your phone while charging, so you can simply move to your Mac and then continue your conversation.
If your phone is off, can you continue the conversation on your Mac?
Yeah, you can. You can be completely off, and then you can. But you can't exactly. Oh no, I think you can. Yeah, but then you can have FaceTime conversations with a Mac, but not have an iPhone.
Yeah, I think I've seen that feature too.
The Apple ecosystem works really well when you have.
Yeah. Okay. Even on the topic of ecosystem, Douglas, what's your take on the Apple ecosystem?
There's only one ecosystem. That's the Apple ecosystem.
They are colonies.
There was a time earlier this year I had an old iPhone 7. I had my iPhone 10, and then I was outside my iPhone 10, and the 7 was inside. Then I received the call. When I answered the call, I spoke for like 15 minutes, and then I checked the number. I was like, this number didn't have my anything. How did this number call me? Yeah, so I was shocked. And then I went back inside and I saw the call on the other phone. And I was like, whoa, the call came on the 7 this whole time, and I was just answering the call through.
Yeah,
like,
I do not. I even used to answer calls on my iPad. Yeah, that were meant for my iPhone.
I didn't even notice that was the phone. The call wasn't native for that device. It was wonderful. And then I hear good stories about people with the whole ecosystem: the watch, Apple Watch, the Mac, the iPhone, AirPods.
Apple, if I get money and I go to iOS, don't say I'm a traitor. Yeah. Hey, Douglas, your microphone went to sleep again and it's trying to wake up. Yeah, there's something about Silas's microphone. It sleeps, then as he's talking, it wakes up again.
Hello.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know whether it's the laptop or I probably should get it checked.
Yep, it is. Anyway.
Would you purchase into a Samsung ecosystem with the bats? Now you have the bats. You have an Android. Would you buy a Samsung laptop and pair it up?
Samsung laptop.
Yeah.
You're not even shy.
Oh. Huawei laptop.
If you go for a laptop, go for HP.
Oh, I actually not. I actually prefer a Huawei MateBook to an HP laptop. Honestly,
Is it?
I don't like HP laptops one bit. I would never buy an HP laptop.
Is inspiration from an Apple.
There's this, Benefol's HP laptop. I actually like that laptop a lot. If I'm to replace my laptop, I'll get that type. It's portable. The quality is good. It's 1080p, high res, touchscreen.
For laptops, if I don't go a gaming brand like Razer or something, I'm going Dell or Lenovo.
And every day you're carrying your bed inside your back.
Yeah, my Lenovo, my Legion is inside. My baby is inside.
No, because I've started preferring.
Laptop is the beast. Douglas laptop is a beast, but it's not that big. I think it's 50-inch.
Yeah,
and I mean, you can put it even as a very small bag, and it won't really.
My bag has other things. That's why it looks big. I carry my stuff everywhere. But I had a bad prejudice about HP laptops. And
why?
I just felt they were not good enough, and then I decided to give them a try 2 years ago. And I bought an HP Pavilion. They proved me absolutely correct. Basa, and I said HP Toshiba. If you dash them to me, I'll leave them with you and go home.
Oh yeah, HP Toshiba. This is like kind of like the worst laptop.
When I heard Toshiba was dead, I was like, good riddance. bad rubbish. HP should join soon.
I mean, I think Toshiba was noted for having a hinge problem with their screens, because most Toshiba laptops I came across had like a hinge problems. So they were notable for that.
So many issues. Their hard drives, their hinges, their screens, flickering. Oh, so many issues.
Easy. All right, guys. So I think that's all the time we have for this episode of the Self-Autonomous Podcast. Douglas, thank you for coming on and having this conversation with us.
Thank you for having me.
And the summary of all that has been said is that if you see that I use an iPhone, don't come and say anything.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, so that's all for Salas. Any last words? Douglas, any last words?
Don't be like or be meant for because if you have the money, I mean, buy what you can afford. Don't be subjected to a particular device just because it's popular or anything. I mean, you just need the basic functionalities to run with it. Once the phone is able to do that, and then it's within your means to.
I actually think.
Just get it.
Sorry, Osalas. I actually think I'm very comfortable with this Huawei phone because I have other devices that helps me achieve certain tasks that someone would normally use their phone to do. Like for example, Netflix, I use this TV. YouTube, I use this laptop connected to this TV. Social media, I can use this TV. Right now, my social media downtime is even reducing. WhatsApp, most of my WhatsApp, now my WhatsApp is becoming so official that I actually have to connect it to WhatsApp web so that I can work on files on my PC, then send them back to WhatsApp. So I realize that because of that, it's giving me less time on the phone, meaning I don't really have to spend so much time to notice the flaws of this phone.
Yeah. And for me,
exactly.
But for me, actually, I could use my phone for all that, and I use a 10X Max. So like, I could just go between work calls and then switch to my laptop, and then even sometimes work on documents on my phone. I mean, I don't have money to purchase an iPad yet, but I'll soon get one.
Why do you work on documents on your phone? Because the smallest I can go is the iPad. Like, I can't work on a serious document. The only thing,
like 6.5.
I only take short note. I think the closest I want to documents on this phone is to write a market list. When I was going to a market, I decided to write a list of things I had to buy. That's the closest because for me, like, I don't know, my screen is big, but then it feels so small and crammed up. Yeah.
Too pressed for space.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not like I fully work on it, but not like serious documentation tasks. That one I'll definitely move it. But probably like small edits or to read the document. Yeah, chill. But me so me sika meto iPad ni why. Emre.
All right, guys. So that's all we have for this episode of the Self-Taught Novice podcast. And we just downloaded a podcast app. Douglas suggested Castbox. And we have less than 100 plays, which is bad. But then it's just me and my family members who have been listening to it, so it's all good. All right, so that's all right. Okay, that's it for us. From us. Hey, that is it from. Hey, I can't say simple. That's all from us. Goodbye. Bye.
Peace out.